Hey everybody, BoykeePlays here, and today I'm going to be playing Sonic Frontiers, but with a twist. I'm a pacifist, which means I'm not allowed to defeat any enemies in cyberspace, and the same applies to military vehicles, and I also want to avoid destroying cars if possible, but it's not against the rules. Now with all of that out of the way, let's get started with the challenge. Starting out with 1-1, there are no enemies at the beginning, so we don't have to worry about this part. Once we get past the first checkpoint, there are some motor bugs that we can really easily avoid, and those are the only enemies in the level. Now onto 1-2. Just like the first level, this one starts out normal, and I tried using the spin dash to just fly over all the enemies, which I could do, but I overshot it by a lot. And after walking past these enemies, head on to the rail grinding. Can do a nice little spin dash launch here. Now I'm pretty sure there is one more enemy, but I think it's on the bottom path, so we don't have to worry about that. Now onto 1-3, and I didn't come across a single enemy in this level. I'm not saying there weren't any, but I didn't find any the way I was going. Now onto 1-4, also known as Green Hill Zone Act 2 from Sonic Generations, or just the 3D parts. Got a few motor bugs that can be really easily avoided. Then we got another one over here with the Buzz Bomber. Who needs loop-de-loops when you can just spin dash? I didn't even know this could happen, but apparently you can switch rails right when the next rail is ending, so it just switched to nothing. Really weird stuff. Fortunately for us, there's no giant fish this time that wants to eat Sonic. There are a few crab meats, but we can zoom past them. Then we can stomp to avoid these Buzz Bombers. Then I can head on this rail, and I think I tried doing something special here. I don't know what I was doing, but yeah. This time I just took the rail normally and got to the end. Now onto 1-5, also known as Sonic Generations Chemical Plant Zone Act 2. To avoid the enemies on the central path, I decided to take the left path instead. And I feel like in Sonic Generations I always mess this part up because the light sweet dash is often unresponsive. I don't know if it's a skill issue or what do you guys think? Also, how often does this happen when you guys are playing through this level? I somehow managed to miss the dash ramp. I don't know how, but it's fine. Man, I love the spin dash in this game. Now 1-6 is Green Hill Zone Act 1 from Sonic Generations. Got a few enemies over here, but we can get past them all easily. Let's take to the sky. Since we're up here, then we don't have to worry about any enemies down below. Just yet. Can someone explain to me what just happened? Got a Buzz Bomber over here that we can easily jump past. And I could use this one here to perform a homing dash, but I don't want to risk it. And after accidentally falling into a pit of spikes, I made it to the end. Now 1-6 is City Escape, but if you've played this game, you probably know we don't even have to play this level to get to the end. Observe. I love this game so much. Now onto 2-1, which is the 2D section of Green Hill Zone Act 2 from Sonic Generations. Got a few enemies over here, but we can just take the lower path to avoid them. We can avoid this crab meat here by using this bouncy thing. And don't worry, these are just balloons. And to get to the end faster, we can use this spring and homing dash. And that takes us right towards the end. Two 2 is that one Dragon Road level from Sonic Unleashed. Okay, that was kinda close actually. Got some Buzz Bombers over here we can boost and jump past. Just got a light dash over here. Okay, well that didn't go as expected. Pro tip, never drop dash into a dash pad. This time I took the dash pad normally, and I'm assuming these Buzz Bombers are here just so you can get to the dash pad quicker, but they're completely optional. Now onto 2-3, and I'm not going to waste your time here because this level had no enemies, at least not where I was going. 2-4 is another Chemical Plant Zone level. This time though it's Radical Highway, and again, who needs loop-de-loops? There were pretty much no enemies I actually came across while playing the level, right up until the end. This guy thinks he can get in the way, but he was very wrong. 2-5 is the 2D section of Sky Sanctuary Act 2 from Sonic Generations. Accidentally destroyed this enemy up here. This time I jumped over it, and I tried walking under this guy, but I'm too tall. I also tried rolling under him, but that didn't work either. This time I just tried to jump over him, but he shot me behind him, which works. It was going well until I accidentally destroyed another enemy. So I had to kill Sonic and respawn at the checkpoint. This time I just ran under it. So as to not find any potential enemies down below, I decided to spin dash up top. And after almost falling down and somehow saving myself, I made it to the end. Wait, you can go back here? Doesn't seem like there's anything back here, but that's interesting. 2-6 is Sky Rail from SA2, and it's actually the whole stage instead of just a small portion. We can completely ignore this motor bug right here. I almost fell off, but it was fine. Got some buzz bombers here that we should be able to avoid pretty easily. But yeah. Probably shouldn't have started over since I did get a checkpoint. But the checkpoint wasn't that far from the beginning, so it's fine. Also, this time I decided to take a less traditional route to the level. Didn't really work, but I have a plan now. This time I made it just fine. Never mind. Okay, I don't know why it didn't launch me this far last time. Maybe I was holding back on the joystick or something. Good thing this was a spring and not an enemy, because I homed onto it immediately. I don't think I've ever once been hit by this buzz bomber. Okay, well I saw something up top that might be a shortcut. I tried to get up to it, but when I eventually did, it turns out it was just buzz bombers. So yeah, that's not gonna help. I almost died again due to the whole rail switching at the end thing. Yeah, I can jump past all of these enemies over here, and then get to the end. Now on to 2-7. I can take a little shortcut at the start by launching myself and then air boosting onto these platforms. However, I do have to be a little careful. I kept accidentally doing a stomp jump, but of course the intended method to do this is use the cloud on the right, so I used that instead. Unfortunately, however, I accidentally killed this guy. This time I made sure to jump over him. Plus, with all these egg robos on higher platforms than me. Heading this way didn't seem all that weird until once I went back I noticed that I had initially skipped the trigger for an egg robo to spawn. That works, I guess. And up here we got another egg robo that we can easily avoid by jumping over these platforms. Then I accidentally destroyed the next egg robo after the checkpoint, so I had to fall into the abyss. This time I walked right off while the clanker helped me at gunpoint. Don't worry, Sonic didn't die. Most of the enemies in this level seem to just be on platforms that are higher than I am that can be easily jumped over. Got another guy over here. And for some reason they made it so the platforms fall if you're above them even if you're not actually touching them. However, when I respawned I accidentally killed an enemy and then accidentally started the level all over again. But once I got back to where I was, I finished the level with no problems. Now it's a 3-1, which is based off of Green Forest from Sonic Adventure 2. You know, there's something I like about these broken loops in this level. I don't know exactly what it is, but I guess they're just kind of appealing. Got some enemies over here that we have to slowly maneuver past, or else we'll just run into them. While I was trying to be careful and avoid these enemies, I accidentally ran off and then slid into this one trying to stomp back onto the ground, so I had to kill myself. I accidentally figured out that you can skip the loops entirely. I'm probably the only one who didn't know that though. And somehow this happened. Okay. This time I finally got past without any issues. These rings here lead to a homing attack chain. Of course I can't homing attack, but I was curious to see what was back here. Unfortunately I somehow stomped right on the egg robo and had to die again. Alright, this time I just grabbed the rings and went on my way to avoid any more accidents. Like that. Okay, so the game wants me to attack this enemy here, but I can also homing attack the spring. Unfortunately, I didn't. Thought I might try skipping the turn, but that didn't work. Fortunately, I survived though. This time I made sure I was a lot closer to the spring than the enemy. Now here it wants me to attack another enemy, but I decided to avoid it. I fell down, but I got back up quickly. Got another buzz bomber right here, but we can just boost into the spring instead. Now something weird I noticed when I play this level is that the buzz bombers after the egg robo, if you destroy them, then they don't respawn when you respawn. It's kind of weird. Don't know why it's like that, but we don't have to worry about that. And with that, we're at the end of the level. Now onto 3-2, which is based off of the 2D section from Savannah Citadel in Sonic Unleashed. I feel like I run into this thing every single time. Right after getting up, this happened, which was a little bit strange, but it's fine. A little homing dash can go a long way, but not exactly the way I want it to go. So far so good, no enemies yet. I'm kinda surprised I didn't just crash into the side of the platform here. Yeah, I don't think there were any enemies in that level. Now onto 3-3, which is Sky Sanctuary Zone Act 2 from Sonic Generations. Got some enemies right at the start that we can jump right past. Taking the upper path avoids any possible enemies below. And I decided to take the right path in case there were any enemies on the left one. There is one enemy right here, but he's not in the way or anything. Who needs homing attacks when you can just jump? Okay, this part looks so weird outdoors. And we can just ignore this guy. Okay, that's not how that's supposed to be done, but it worked. I'm not complaining. You can also just walk past these guys over here. And homing attacks are not required to get past. And with that, we've reached the end of the level. Now onto 3-4, which is literally on rails. I'm pretty sure this is like a DLC level from Unleashed or something. But there are no enemies here, so we can just skip this. Now onto probably the most boring level in the game, 3-5. Whenever I hear 3-5, I think of this level. So all it is, well, drifting. Poor drifting at that. What you want to do is, you know, skip the drift pads. There are no enemies in this level, so I won't waste your time here. Now onto 3-6, which I think is also an Unleashed level, but I could be wrong, because I don't remember which one. Got some buzz bombers early on, but you can homing dash right past them. Let's try that again. Ah, much better. Let's jump past this guy here. Got another egg robo to avoid. We can also just jump over this egg robo to get to the wall jumping segment. This guy is unimportant. I'm kinda surprised I executed this homing dash safely. Yeah, these buzz bombers also don't get in the way. I need to stop almost jumping into the abyss. This egg robo and the balloon up there are completely unnecessary, so we can just run past that, along with these buzz bombers. You know, I'm glad there are so many more enemies here, because we spent like, what, 2 levels without any enemies? Don't see too many of this colored egg robo. I think there was one in the Radical Highway level, but that's all that I remember so far. And after jumping over a rather aggressive spike ball, I made it to the end. Now onto 3-7, which is Modern Sonic's Chemical Plant Zone Act 2 from Sonic Generations. Launching myself up here lets me skip I think a decent portion of the level. Pretty cool that you can actually get up here. You know, maybe it's good that I missed that jump. I probably would have killed the little spider guy if I did make the jump. Alright, now this was a really weird air boost. I didn't know that the physics were like this, but that's pretty cool. Don't mind me, just speeding by. You know, I usually don't miss this, but it ended up being fine. Except for when I somehow missed the goal. And I have no idea what's going on here. But I made my way back up just fine. Now to 4-1. Now this level here is Metal Harbor from Sonic Adventure 2. To get past this egg robo, I decided to do a homing dash, but that didn't work out too well. This attempt was much better. It's a good thing they replaced the beetles with balloons. I decided to take the upper path, but there was an egg robo waiting for me. Luckily I could just walk past it. Okay, well that didn't work, let's try again. Okay, here I kinda caused myself to go in a circle. Somehow I went through the tiny gap between the wall and the railing, so I just went through. But I survived. And yes, I tried to do a homing dash, but that didn't work. And I once again accidentally restarted the level. And upon making it back to this section, I accidentally committed robo-slaughter. This time I made it, though with minor injuries. While ascending the make-believe rocket, then got a homing attack chain with a buzz bomber at the end that I can boost to avoid. And after a little bit of skateboarding, I made it to the end. Now to 4-2. Start off on the street where there are a few cars but no enemies. And after a bit of running, so far still no enemies. This looks a little bit familiar. Got a bunch of cars in here. I accidentally destroyed one, but like I said, it's not against the rules, so we're fine. But yeah, there were no enemies in that level either. Now onto 4-3, which is from what I can tell a completely original level. Got a buzz bomber right here that I can dash past. And the game wants me to kill these guys, but it's optional. I tried to walk around this guy, but ended up walking into him. And there's the checkpoint. Got some more optional enemies. And I feel like I could get up here, like, apparently it's just barely too high, but I feel like I could get up here before. So I had to take a slightly more normal route instead. All of these guys are optional. Unfortunately, what's not optional is these guys, because the goal doesn't spawn unless you defeat them all. And, you know, that's against the rules. So, this is the first level that's impossible. Now to 4-4. And for the majority of the level, there are no enemies. Up until maybe the middle or towards the end-ish of the level where we have to deal with military helicopters. Fortunately, getting past them isn't very difficult at all. There is a tank over here, but I pretty much ignored it existed. Now here's the tough part. We got 3 tanks and floating platforms. I tried a homing dash, but I ran right into these spikes. This time I didn't hit it in the center, but the spikes that were spinning hit me. This time I did a simple air boost, but it didn't take me far enough. This time I almost made it, but I stomped too late. I also realized now that I could have probably just landed on the tanks, because they don't hurt you by just touching them. But hey, I still made it. Now onto 4-5. Something neat about this level is that you don't actually have to jump to get across, you can air boost after falling off. While speeding through the level as fast as I could, I accidentally skipped a checkpoint. Should be fine as long as I don't die. What just happened? This time I made sure not to miss the checkpoint. And I also didn't do any crazy shenanigans. Okay, that was kinda close. Well yeah, there were no enemies in that level, so of course it's possible. Now to 4-6, and this looks a bit like classic Sonic's Chemical Plant Zone Act 1 from Sonic Generations. I don't know if this counts as an enemy or not. I mean, it's invincible, so we're all good, but I still wonder, like, I think it's called, actually I don't remember what it's called at all. Maybe it's just called Mega Mac Bubbles. Somehow I was able to turn around right at the ledge here. Weird. You know, Cyberspace's 2D role is extremely underutilized. So underutilized that I feel like most people probably don't even know it exists. Don't mind me, Spiny, just passing through. And I didn't encounter many enemies after that. Now onto 4-7. Got a tank here that we can jump over. There's another one here, but we don't have to worry about it. But I did accidentally fall off due to the propeller things, I think. I can take an alternate route by using these propellers up here. You know what? Why am I calling them propellers? They're fans. So far none of these tanks have actually been a problem. And already at the end of the level. Now to 4-8. Taking the upper path here may look like it leads to a buzz bomber, but I can go a little bit higher and avoid it. And then for the ones here, I can just jump past them. And after that, I kind of just beat the level. There were no enemies after that. Now to the final base game Cyberspace level 4-9, which is, well, skateboarding. It's not really City Escape, no. After finishing the first skateboarding segment, we can walk past these tanks. And maybe it's just me, but this part really reminds me of like the pyramid level from Sonic Adventure 2 for some reason. Like I feel like there was a section in that level like this. Hopefully that car didn't belong to anyone. Right after destroying the car, I took a mini shortcut. Then I jumped really high somehow. I don't really know how that happened. I also don't really know how this happened. Like sure, I jumped up there, but it was really weird. I don't know if it's just me, but for some reason seeing tracks like Radical Highway and Cyberspace Highway in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds just looks really weird, because like I usually see Sonic running on the roads. It should be the most normal looking thing for cars to be driving on, but I don't know, it just seems weird to me. Now to switch on over to the final horizon to play the last stages. Unfortunately, we have a problem. I seem to have misplaced the footage for 4-A. So let me go record some new footage right quick. Be right back. Now onto 4-A. I wonder how far we'll get in this level. Okay, apparently the reason I couldn't find this footage was because this part was so short. But it was there. Well, anywho, on to 4-B. And this level, I feel like I've only beaten this level like once in my entire time playing this game. Maybe twice. But I don't know. It's not super duper hard like near the beginning parts, but at the end is when it gets a bit harder. Especially when we're not allowed to kill anything. Probably my favorite thing about the remix Final Horizon stages is how many different alternate routes there are, and how open they are. Like you can spin dash from one place and get to the other pretty fast. Pretty cool. It seems you can't ascend this wall without doing homing attacks, so instead I used the pulleys above. Whoops, missed that one. Hopefully it won't matter much. Alright, let's try that again. Alright, that's much better. Now here's the hard part, because I never know which platforms are gonna fall, so I don't know which ones I can land on. And of course I can't homing attack these enemies here, so yeah, can't really save myself. I think the reason I usually mess up when I'm normally playing this level is that I usually do a homing dash, so then I can't do a air boost after homing attacking all the enemies, which would probably be easier. I'm probably making it like really hard for myself. But when I did finally get past it, I was so very happy. And in addition to that, I actually beat the Shadow Tails, I think for the first time. Yep, first time. Let's head on to 4-C. Now since this is a rocket boosting level, we have to be careful because with the rocket boost, running into enemies kills them just like, well, the boost in any other game than this. So, we can stop rocket boosting by jumping and or spin dashing. And I'll probably have to do that a lot because I don't want to run into anything. One problem we have are these really tight corridors with robots. I can jump over them though, somehow. And I always want to make sure to run to the side in case there are any robots in the corridor that I don't see. This prolonged automation section has me a bit worried that it might just run me right into some enemies. And what do you know, it almost did. But fortunately I was able to stop in time, and I was able to safely get past all of them. Okay, I don't really know why this happened, but it was pretty weird. Yeah, I don't think Sonic's okay after that.
Oh no!
Look, I panicked, okay? On this attempt I decided to go the route of the silver moon rings, and I wasn't expecting to find the secret exit. Sweet! Now onto 4-D, which is a remix version of 4-3. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when I was playing this level I had like no idea where I was going, because there's something in pretty much every direction. Since this is a remix level, then the level feels very familiar, but at the same time completely different from 4-3. A lot of these paths seem to have placed me in the middle of nowhere. Though I eventually did find what looked like the goal area. Problem was I couldn't get in. I now have Penguin. I now do not have Penguin. Alright, I think I found the way inside. Oh great, this guy again? Unfortunately, the same applies to this level, meaning that this level is impossible.
Hold up, wait a minute.
There's still hope. Because there's a hidden goal, I restarted the level and started searching. Unfortunately, I still had no idea where I was going, so the hidden goal was extra hidden. I somehow managed to fall into this guy while spin dashing in the sky. But yeah, my search wasn't very fruitful. I don't think I got anywhere with it, so I actually had to look up where the hidden goal was, and lo and behold, I eventually found it, after quite a while. Now, to find 4-E. Alright, found it, now onto 4-E. And now there's a bomb over my head, perfect. And this stage is a remix of 1-5, which is also Chemical Plant from Sonic Generations. And while I'm here, then I want to try to make sure to pick up timer so that I don't explode. Got a few rather useless spiny blockades. And I'm running out of time. Better find a timer quick. Alright, maybe I should stock up on more timers next time. Alright, got some more time. Now to go fast. Alright, go fast and watch where I'm going. Thank you, game, for censoring that brutal explosion. This time I locked in, and by locked in I mean found a secret exit on accident. Now to 4-F. What's with the string of chemical plant levels we've been having? Now this level is a remix of 2-4, which is, you know, Radical Highway. But with the spin dash, getting through this level was extremely easy, and I avoided every single enemy by doing so. Now to 4-G. In this level I actually have to be careful not to go too fast, or else I'll burn out like a car. Because of that, I can't exactly spin dash to my heart's content, because spin dashing automatically gets you at top speed, and if you hold it for too long, you'll blow up. These cars defy gravity. Actually no, all the cars in these levels defy gravity. Okay, I don't really know what happened, but I found the hidden exit. I think I only came across like a few egg robos earlier. Now to 4-H, and I'm just now realizing why we had so many chemical plant levels. There's 3 of each level in this, except Sky Sanctuary, so the Final Horizon Remix levels go Green Hill, Green Hill, Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Chemical Plant, Chemical Plant, and then Highway, Highway, Highway. Poor Sky Sanctuary. On this part I was so confused as to what I was supposed to do. Then I came back without any rings and blew up. Because I was trying to get through here fast, and I skipped the rings again and decided to try spin dashing off one of these boxes. And well, you know, it worked. However, it wasn't very consistent, so if I died, I'd have to try it again. Now let's just hope I don't die. This time I made sure not to skip the rings at the start. And it's a good thing too, because I figured out that the explosion is what's supposed to launch you up. Yeah, I had tried so many times and failed, making it way harder than it had to be. Now this part was a little bit complicated because one of the main ways of getting up is by homing attacking the egg robos to the left and right. However, I did find an alternate way up. Okay, well I didn't see that coming. I should have learned from earlier not to drop dash into a dash pad. Ah, that should work. Always take the upper route. Okay, now I have another problem. I tried homing dashing, but I accidentally boosted first. and it felt like I was just falling forever. This time I, on accident, took a slightly different route. And this route was filled with lasers rather than enemies, so that's a win. Gotta be a little careful here. Oh great, more enemies. Can we get past these? I think so, if I try better. This time I did a spin dash jump so that I was in range to homing attack the spring. Let's launch ourselves here so that we can get over any possible problems. And with that, we've reached the end of the level. Now, onto the final level, 4-I. I think this is one of my favorite Final Horizon levels because of the weird, like, low gravity setting it has. It makes doing stuff like this even more satisfying. Man, there are a whole lot of cars here. Well, that wasn't what was supposed to happen. Let's go this way instead. You probably remember seeing this in the intro. There are so many cars here, I doubt they actually belong to anyone, so destroying them is fine. Alright, let's jump past this guy. And I gotta be careful not to launch myself too high or else the camera gets all crazy. Alright, this time I was able to make it to the platforms and then to the rail that's in between a million bajillion cars. Alright, I got to the end of the rail and then got to these vertical rails, but I accidentally jumped off thinking that I would be launched the wrong way or something. Alright, this time I made it safely. This is probably one of the trippiest Sonic levels in existence. And after flying past maybe 100 more flying cars, I got to the goal. But the goal wasn't enough for me, because I went hunting for the secret exit. And after maybe 12 seconds of looking around, I found what I thought to be the secret exit, and my thoughts were right, it was. And there we have it. I played every single level in Sonic Frontiers to see which ones were possible without killing anything. And it turns out only 2 weren't. 4-3 and 4-A. I had a lot of fun doing this challenge, even though some levels did make me a little bit angry. But anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. And hyping the video, I guess. I still don't really know what this does. But it helps the algorithm, so yeah. Also, if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member. I've almost made enough money to get paid, but of course it's not necessary. Anywho, with all that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed, and everyone have a nice day. Goodbye.